Right, you are now live, Chair.
Thank you very much. If you can remember, members, the public are viewing this meeting via the live stream, and they can only see the person who is speaking. Also, that it takes a few seconds for Zoom to switch, spotlighting the person when they begin to speak. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for attending. I was going to say coming out on a night like this, but attending. Thank you very much. Welcome to this virtual meeting of Scrutiny Commission for Charnwood Borough Council. There are a number of things I would like to remind people of before we start with the items on the agenda. Please note that this meeting is being live streamed and recorded, and the recording will be made available on the Council's website following the meeting. Under the openness of local government bodies regulation, people may film or record this meeting, and this is outside the Council's control. However, people wishing to film or record the meeting should do so in a way that does not disrupt the meeting, the business of the meeting. And I'm stammering now because I remember I haven't put my phone on silent. I have now. Whew. It's got a very, very loud ring. Also, so that the meeting is not disturbed, could I ask everybody present to please turn your mobile phones off or switch them off to silent and ensure that your environment is distraction free. And can I remind you, everybody, that this is a public meeting, so please conduct yourself in the appropriate manner. Thank you. I'm not going to mention any parish council meetings that have been going around. As this is a virtual meeting, it will be run slightly different. Members will need to introduce themselves and state their name and confirm that they can see and hear the proceeding. This is important for the purposes of recording attendance and transparency of the meeting. I will do this by undertaking an alphabetical roll call. Members will use the raise hand feature in the participants section of the Zoom software if they wish to speak, and will be allowed to do so on a queuing system. Councillor Bolton, can you confirm? Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Bolton here. I confirm that I can see and hear the proceedings.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Brooks.
Thank you. Yes, I can confirm I can both see and hear the proceedings. Thank you.
Councillor Grimley.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Grimley, I confirm I both see and hear the proceedings.
Councillor Harsh-Nicolau.
Thank you, Chair. I can confirm that I can hear and see the proceedings.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Hamilton, I can both see and hear proceedings.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Ransom.
Thank you, Chair. I can both hear and see the proceedings.
And I can both see and hear the proceedings also. Right, we have several officers present tonight, not as long a list as we usually have. So I've got Councillor James Poland. He's the lead member for public housing. Would you confirm that you can see and hear the proceedings, please?
Hello there, Chair and members. Yes, I can see and hear proceedings.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Bailey, lead member for planning.
Good evening, Chair. I can confirm I can see and hear the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Bennett, head of planning and regeneration.
Evening, Chair. I can confirm I can see and hear proceedings.
Evening, Richard. Peter Oliver, head of landlord services.
Thank you, Chair. I can see and hear proceedings.
Wonderful. Karen Widdowson, Democratic Services Manager.
Thank you, Chair. I can see and hear proceedings.
Thank you. Nikki Conway, Democratic Services Officer.
Thank you, Chair. I confirm I can see and hear proceedings.
Thank you. Sally Watson, Democratic Services Officer.
Thank you, Chair. I can hear and see.
Thank you. Right, the next one is item 1. It's apologies. We've received no apologies for this evening's meeting. Can I confirm also that the minutes, that I can sign off the minutes of the previous meeting as being correct? Councillor Bolton.
Yes, I'm happy with the minutes, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
Yes, likewise, I'm happy with those minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Grimley.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy with the minutes.
Councillor Hodge-Nicolau.
Happy with the minutes, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm also happy with the minutes.
Thank you. Councillor Ransom.
Thank you, Chair. I'm also happy with the minutes.
And I am also happy with the minutes, so the minutes will be signed off. Thank you. Item 3, disclosures of pecuniary and personal interest. I have none previously. Have we got any for this meeting from members here? No.
So thank you, Chair. Councillor Grimm, it's just a minor personal interest in item, I suppose it's, I'll just find it here. Item 10A on the planning fee income. Only to note that the company I work with regularly make planning applications on behalf of clients to Charnwood, but there's no any sort of bias on this at all, personal bias at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. That will be noted. Right. Declarations of party whip, there's none to report. Item 5 is questions under scrutiny committee, and there's no questions being submitted. Item 6 is an audit committee update. I would just like to say that we did have a meeting. No, we didn't. That's just the audit committee meeting, Nikki, isn't it?
Through you, Chair, it's the Audit Committee and Scrutiny Commission meeting.
I thought it was, but you threw me with the title there. So we had a meeting on Friday, and I've got nothing really to report from that meeting. Item 7, pre-discussion scrutiny of any specific financial matters to be considered by the Cabinet. There are none for us to discuss tonight. Right, item 8 is Cabinet items for pre-discussion scrutiny. The following items have been identified for pre-discussion scrutiny from the Cabinet agenda for the 11th of February 2021. Item 8A is future arrangements for the delivery of planned works, voids, associated works. This is an exempt report and will be considered under item 13 on this agenda. At this point, I have to ask, don't I? Is the committee okay for me to defer this to be discussed under item 13? Councillor Bolton.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
Yep, I'm happy with that as well.
Councillor Ransom.
I'm happy with that, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Hodge-Nicolau.
I'm happy with that, Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Grimley.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy with that as well.
And I'm happy as well. Thank you.
And Councillor Hamilton.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Hamilton. It's because I've gone off script, isn't it? I was trying to think of which followed. Yeah. So, sorry, Councillor Hamilton. I didn't forget you did. Just save the best till last. Right, so now we've got item 9, which is pre-discussion scrutiny cabinet response, page 12. Karen, would you like to introduce this report, please?
Thank you, Chair. This item is for information only, and it sets out the Council's Cabinet's responses to the recommendations of the Commission on pre-decision scrutiny items that were considered on the 11th of January. And those relate to the People Strategy 2021 to 24 and the Loughborough Business Improvement District third term. And this is for noting purely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. Item 10, you're up again. Could you introduce this report, please, which is the Scrutiny Work Programme?
Thank you, Chair. So item number 10 is the Scrutiny Work Programme. This sets out the actions requested on page 14. So action number 1 relates to the review of the Scrutiny Work Programme, which is set out in the appendix, which we'll go through shortly. The second action is to look at the items previously selected for Scrutiny Committee Work Programme, and which the next item on the agenda is 10A, which is concerning the planning fee income. And so that's been selected and on the agenda tonight. And then the third action on the report is to agree that the scrutiny committees continue to be paused until after the Scrutiny Commission meeting on the 8th of March. I'd also like it clarified that the meetings, if you should agree with the meetings being paused, that should actually mean the meetings of the directorate-based committees on the 9th, 16th and 23rd of March wouldn't take place as well. The reason for that is because we start planning the agenda planning preparation process approximately 3-4 weeks beforehand. So I need you to confirm that you will be in agreement with the pausing the scrutiny committees and including those particular dates as well for that reason set out. And then going on to the actual work programme, the members are asked to comment on the work programmes for each of the directorate-based committees, and that's a good process that we've been following. And I do understand that, Chair, there has been one suggestion on page number 18, which I actually think came from yourself, which was about the performance information report. So that's what I will leave it at for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I ask all members if they are quite happy that the scrutiny will be delayed until after the consultation period has ended and decisions have been made? Councillor Bolton.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Thank you. I've got my script up now. So it's Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, given the current circumstances, I think that's quite sensible. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Grimley.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm happy with that.
And Councillor Harsh-Nicolau.
You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Chair. Absolutely.
Thank you. Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm happy with that.
Very good. Councillor Ransom.
I'm very happy with that, Chair. Thank you.
And I'm happy with that also. Okay. So, turn over. I'll do declaration of party whip again. Right. And Karen.
Yeah, and then I just wanted to go through the work programmes as attached. Chair, I think you have highlighted that you'd like to bring forward the performance information report that would normally go to the Corporate Services Scrutiny Committee, and potentially, because it's an annual item, potentially for the March meeting. Now, we do need to check that that can be delivered for the March meeting. The reason for that is because the officer who normally has produced that report in the past has actually left the authority now, and we just need to make sure it's a realistic timetable to achieve for the March meeting. So we will provisionally allocate it for March, but it may need to slip to April. Thank you. Is everybody in agreement with that?
Do I need a named thing from them, right? Councillor, do I need to go through them all? Yes?
Yeah, please.
Councillor Bolton.
Yes, I'm happy with that, Chair.
Councillor Brooks.
Yep, I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Councillor Grimley.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm happy with that too.
Thank you. Councillor Harsh-Nicolau.
Happy with this, Chair.
Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'm happy with that.
Councillor Ransom.
I'm happy with that, Chair. Thank you.
And I'm happy at that as well, Councillor Seaton. Thank you very much for that. So from that, we'll go on. Am I all right to go on to 10A, Karen? Yeah. Okay. Which is the planning fee income, and it will be on your pages of your agenda on page 25. I'd like to ask Councillor Bailey to introduce the report and then ask if there's any members of the Commission that have questions or comments. We also have Richard Bennett here to answer any of those questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. It's a pretty straightforward report. It doesn't run too many pages, so it should be fairly straightforward. So if you're happy, Chair, we'll take it as read, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Right. I can see no hands up, Councillor Bailey and Richard. It's obviously your night tonight. So it is pretty straightforward, and I think your hands are tied quite a lot as it is. Richard, is there anything you would like to say on this?
Thank you, Chair. Just through you, I think it is just to emphasise the point to members that the planning fees are set by regulation. The council doesn't have any involvement in setting fees for planning applications, unlike building control applications, which of course operate in a commercial environment. And of course, we don't have any control whatsoever over the type of applications that are submitted to us or when they are submitted. So I think if members can look at the graph on page 26 of the report, you can see the relationship of planning application income against budget over the last 8 years or so, and you can see it's not a linear graph. It rises and falls. It has as much to do with our 5-year supply position as the state of the macro economy. And we do try hard with our colleagues in finance to try and set a realistic budget for the future, but we aren't able to predict changes in the economy going forward, or all we can do is put forward what we think is a reasonable assessment for the budget process. Of course, for example, this year nobody anticipated COVID, did they? And that has had quite an impact on planning fee income and indeed building control income this financial year. So the report does explain that, and it does explain how we went about increasing the budget in 2018 in light of government proposals to increase planning fee income by 20%, and how that was managed and how that was taken through the budget process, scrutiny, and also through Cabinet when we did the restructure of the planning service in 2018 to take into account that fee income, because the fee income was accepting that fee income increase was on the proviso that the planning service was improved. That was the quid pro quo for accepting that. The explanation for that set out in the report. Yeah, so that's the situation. It does also explain what the service review sought to achieve, and the outcomes. And yeah, so very happy to take any questions if there are any, Chair.
Thank you very much. Has COVID-19, and I'm sure I know the answer to this, it's like one of those reporters asking a stupid question at night. Has it really affected the way that you are delivering planning services at the moment? Negatively?
Through you, Chair, we continue to provide a full planning service. We are providing our service mostly from home. There are 1 or 2 offices in the Southfields office. We are continuing to provide a normal planning service, but I think what we have seen is a change in the type of applications, particularly early on in the COVID pandemic. We've seen a big increase in householder applications. Perhaps people who have been locked down at home have had more time to think about that extension they've been putting off for a number of years. We did see a lull in applications at the start of the pandemic, but of course, when our core strategy became 5 years old in November, and we were unable to demonstrate a 5-year supply, we have seen a big increase in the number of larger applications be presented to the planning authority as well, and that's had a big impact on our fee income, a positive impact on our fee income in the latter part of 2020. So yeah, so it's a normal service that we're operating at the moment, Chair, but quite a roller coaster in terms of the nature of applications that have been submitted, and the type and the fees that have been received this year.
Okay, thank you very much. Has anybody else got anything to comment on? No? Right, thank you very much. I confirm that we've noted the report. It's a report just for noting. So thank you very much, Richard and Richard. Just realised. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we'll move on to item 11, which is Scrutiny Commission Work Programme, and that is on page 30. Your agenda. Karen.
Thank you, Chair. So item number 11, it sets out the Scrutiny Commission work programme and the notice of key decisions. So looking at Appendix 1, which is the work programme, first of all. So looking at that, if I commence on page number 34, we've got, for the 8th of March meeting, we've got the enterprise zone, which for pre-scrutiny. We've also got the local plan for pre-scrutiny for 8th of March. It does actually say March to be programmed, but it is actually for the 8th of March. So they're the two items that have been highlighted for the March meeting. And then we set out the 6th of April as well, which is the draft scrutiny annual report, which then goes on to council, and also the air quality review as well. And also we do need to add in as well from the previous item, the performance information on Q3, which has come forward from the Corporate Services Work Programme. Are there any other things that members would like adding onto the work programme? Anything else, or any changes, any deletions?
Thank you. Can I ask Councillor Bolton, please?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Karen. It just occurred to me when I was going through the work programme that at the start of the pandemic, at each meeting, we were having an update on the recovery cells, which I certainly found extremely useful. And I wondered whether there was any intention of sort of bringing that back, because it is quite a few months since we had one of the recovery cell updates.
Yes, yeah, I think it was paused for a little while. I can't see it because there was nothing further to report, but there must be something to report now. So if everyone is minded, if the committee are minded, I can ask for a recovery cell either at the March meeting or a future meeting, depending on the future structure of the
I think the March meeting is, and I'll warn you all now, it's quite heavy. So if we have that on there, which I'm quite happy to do so, it will make it heavier. We were having one recovery cell at a time, and I believe there's only 2 now rather than 3.
Yes, I think that's right. Yes.
Okay. So if there is a possibility of doing it's community and I can't remember now. Can anybody help me out? One was community.
Through you, Chair, I think the other one is the economic one. So there's an economics recovery cell and a community one.
Okay. Could we have a word with the officers to see if we could fit one of those in March and then the other one in April? Or if not, have both of them in April?
Yeah, we can make inquiries and look to have the community one in March and the economic one the following month, depending on the new structure of the scrutiny committees. And obviously, and we will report back and we'll put it on the work programme. Thank you.
Is that all right with all the members? Thank you very much.
So that's the work programme, and then turning to appendix number 2, which is the key decisions notices, which starts on page number 38. So if I move on through quite fairly quickly onto page number 40, we've already mentioned the enterprise zone has already been picked for pre-scrutiny at the 8th of March meeting. And also the Charnwood local plan has been picked for pre-scrutiny for the 8th of March meeting. I do note though that we have got the ICT strategy is due to go to Cabinet on the 11th of March. And so I wondered if members would wish to have the ICT strategy added to the 8th of March meeting as a pre-scrutiny item.
Yes, I would be happy with that. Would the rest of the council members please? Could I have a nod in confirmation? Thank you very much. As I say, it will be a long meeting. Lots of reading to do as well. So I know you're all up to it. So thank you very much. Karen,
Okay, so thank you. Yeah, that's, and I've not seen any other items that could potentially be picked. So we'll add the ICT strategy onto there. So lovely. Thank you very much. And that's the end of that item.
Thank you. Okay, so now we go on to item 12, which is the exempt information. I propose for this item to exclude members of the public from the meeting during the consideration of the following item on the grounds that it will involve unlikely disclosure of exempt information as defining in paragraphs 3 and 5 of part 1 of the schedule 12A to the Local Government Act 1972. And it is considered that the public interest in maintaining the exemption outweighs the public interest in disclosing the information. I would like to put it, I would like to invite Colin to second that.
I second that proposal.
Thank you very much. Councillor Bolton, are you quite happy to exclude the public?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that decision, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Brooks.
Yeah, I'm happy with that decision as well, Chair.
Councillor Grimley.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy with that decision as well.
Councillor Harsh-Nicolau.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy.
Councillor Hamilton.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy with that.
Councillor Ransom.
I'm very happy with that, Chair. Thank you.
And I'm also very happy with that. So from now on, we'll be disclosing